Hi everyone, welcome to the next episode of the Decentralized Voices podcast. Today we are diving into 3 Ethereum gatherings, ETHWarsaw, ETHCluj, and ETHRome. Monika, Simona, and Marka don't just organize events, they build communities and movements reflecting the unique energy of their cities and shaping the future of Web3 in Europe. So let's check out what's happening behind the scenes. Guys, I'm happy to have you today. Please give our listeners the overview of your path in Web3 and what you're doing in your cities to bring Ethereum.
So, hi everyone, I'm Monika and I'm one of ETHWarsaw co-founders. I've been in crypto since around 2016. Back then, I was mostly focused on product management, but I also organized some events before the pandemic. First as Blockchain Hub Warsaw, and then we decided to start ETHWarsaw. And since 2022, we are organizing bigger events. So we organized 3 editions of ETHWarsaw conference and hackathon already, and so we are planning the next one in September.
Hi there, everyone, and thanks, Daria, for hosting us. My name is Simona. I represent ETHCluj team. I'm going to speak a little bit about how we started the initiative ETHCluj, because we're basically 5 developers and myself who's mostly in charge of the communication and community aspects. We started back in 2021. My colleagues, the 5 developers that I was just talking about, started off by deciding that they want to host presentations about their research that they were doing for their projects individually. Like basic Solidity tutorials, and they practice like coding simple 1 contract projects, but they moved quickly through it, and mid 2021 they decided to actually start something that back in the days was called Cluj Ethereum Developers, starting to present their ideas and their research. And I joined in 2022. I was pretty much learning from them a lot of the stuff that I know today, and decided to join in because of the really cool values that I saw with this team. So they were really generous with their time, generous with their knowledge, gently helping everybody around them. And I thought this was something worth contributing to. And here we are, 2025, nearly like 4 years later, holding our first conference here in Cluj for end of June. I'll be honest, it comes with its challenges, but we're familiar with building events since we're pretty much doing constant events, meetups online and in person as well since 2022.
Hello, I'm Marco, and one of the co-founder and now head of events of Urbe.it. I think that, like Simona, we started from like a developer-oriented community, because there were not like a developer-oriented community here in Rome. There were not actually any Web3 community here in Rome focused on Web3 and not crypto, because we focused on Web3 like not in a speculative way, but only to build some cool stuff and to build some interesting stuff for the ecosystem actually. And so we started this community in 2022. We started to do like small events, meetups, and then we organized ETHRome for the first year in 2023. The things escalated a lot like quickly, because we started to do also educational stuff like Urbe Campus around here in Italy or around the world, in Warsaw, for example. And also now we have done the 2nd edition of ETHRome, and now we opened the first Web3 hub in Italy. This co-working and event space for all the Web3 builders that want to join us, and it has opened since February 2025 with the help of the Akasha Foundation and Ethereum co-founder of Mia Alice.
Can you please share what's something uniquely local that a first-time visitor would only find at your event? For example, food, venue, unique knowledge, side events. What's unique from your side?
I think that's the most important thing is Rome, actually. So I have the pleasure to have a beer in front of the Colosseum before ETHRome hackathon or during our events. So I think that Rome is the cooler part because you can go around the city center and visit all the city, and it's nice. But from like a community and event perspective, I think that we generally try to do everything, like we said, by builders for builders. So from people that know what is to attend an hackathon, they know what is to attend an event, and so we try to tailor-made, we try to craft all our events, thinking before about builders, what they would like to see and what they would like to expect. So I think that I hope that attend our event feel the same, and we try to collect the best experience for them.
I pretty much know about Urban and what they're building over there with ETHRome as well. Been at the opening and just wanted to say congrats, Mark. You're doing a super good job and it's super enjoyable. So just to follow up on this very high note with what we're doing for ETHCluj, obviously you guys were following your steps, both ETHWarsaw and ETHRome, right? And we're learning a lot from you guys. But we're blending everything with, if you will, like the human layer of Romanian hospitality, right? So what we want to offer to attendees is also experiencing like the unique local fusion in terms of Transylvanian culture as well, since we have a lot of we have Hungarian population, Ukrainian, German, and a lot of students who are coming from all across the world, since the universities here are quite held in high regard. So it's quite of a mix of very interesting, cultures from everywhere, right? And this is a very unique approach. Yet just coincidental that we called our conference Ethereum for Everyone, because it's something we deeply believe in, and we want to open up the gates for literally everybody to have a look, be curious, and see what it's about, see if they're aligned with these values, because that's probably the most important thing for us. And then, help to onboard people, each on their own, specific bit, if you will. I mean, there literally is a place for everyone to contribute in this ecosystem. Obviously, being a technical community, we hold in high regard the devs and the hackers, but considering it's our first event and we're still trying to map out the ecosystem here, we consider this very important also for the students in Cluj and also for onboarding, devs and people in Web 2, since we're basically the most important tech hub of the country. We thought it was important to offer workshops for all skill levels, and hopefully starting the following years, maybe even next year, we're going to try and bring these workshops even more actively in universities. We've already done this before, but we're basing we're building brick by brick, if you will. That's what we're trying to offer. And also something that I really want to also mention, even though it's not per se within the event, but I think it brings a certain spirit and value to the event. The fact that here in Cluj you can really blend, nature with mental clarity and productivity. As I'm sure you probably guys know already, we're quite close, to Apuseni Mountains, so Carpathian Mountains, right? We have forests all around the city, which is really easily accessible. You don't need to, ride, you can actually walk there. And lakeside, a very picturesque setup. So you literally have the opportunity here to just work from anywhere, and it's really handy and really close to the cities. I'm hoping that attendees will take the moment and take the chance to also explore a little bit around, because this is a very important aspect.
A big plus from my side to Romanian hospitality. I experienced it last year, so I'm sure that people enjoyed.
Thank you.
Monika, what about Warsaw?
What I like to highlight for ETHWarsaw is that it's not only the conference, but it's the whole Warsaw Blockchain Week. So we curate all this list of side events, and last year we had over 20 events happening during ETHWarsaw, and it's a wide range of events. You can explore our whole ecosystem, because the smaller companies that are not at our conference are organizing their own meetups, for example. But also we have a lot of parties, every day is a party. And we have real techno raves during our conference. So I think that it is something that is pretty unique for Warsaw. And I think it's creating this vibe of exploring, having fun. It's not only about, serious business, but it's about networking, meeting people. For the last two editions, we had opening party at a place with different games, including karaoke, for example. And I really enjoyed both of these parties. I think it's a really great way to network with people because you know that everyone at this place is in the same industry and you can talk to anyone basically and have fun with them. And it creates this really unique atmosphere. It's also connected to the whole idea of Warsaw Blockchain Week. We are organizing our site events as well. For example, this year we had ETHCluj, so a whole one-day conference for lawyers. I think it also was pretty unique because we gathered like 100 lawyers and law professionals in one place to talk about Polish and European legislation regarding crypto. And it created really something special for these people because they don't talk to each other on the daily basis, like they're like in their companies or at the universities. And it was a great opportunity for them to meet each other and talk about crypto. So I think this is something also stands out.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to mention the futuristic vibes of Warsaw because every person coming to Warsaw likes it. It's very inspiring thing when you come to the city that develops so fast as Warsaw does this. So it's super cool. So guys, I have very interesting question to you. If Vitalik showed up unannounced, what the first thing you'd want to show him?
No pressure, right?
No pressure.
Actually, I would be very chill about it and I would take him to our tea ceremony and we would have some tea together and we would talk about Ethereum. I think that would be top notch.
I really strongly believe in that, like the very interesting stuff and the cool stuff happens when you're not necessarily under pressure in a, let's say, academic environment or talking very serious discussions, right? If Vitalik would show up, actually, I thought about this at some point, and I always thought, especially now with spring in the air and summer coming up, that it would be nice to just take him, like, give a bit of the Cluj vibe, which is basically, just picking up with a bunch of friends and going right here, top of the hill, having a barbecue, having some drinks, chat a little bit, maybe stroll through the forest.
Of course, I will show him Rome and whatever, but I think that we have discussed it a little bit, and we're always struggling to have mentor and judges, so I will ask him to do the mentor and judges during the hackathon. Actually, it will be cool, but it is like another mentor, another judge, not different from another one.
I think you all have great plans, so it's a great idea to combine everything, to mix and to go to a forest, to drink tea, to judge the hackathon and to do it in one day. So maybe it's a perfect plan to meet Vitalik in your city. What has changed the most since your first edition in the event, in the ecosystems, and in yourselves as organizers?
It changed everything, actually. By the community, is the first event, the first ETHRome was completely done by volunteers and by all the community. It's always like that, also in these days, with the scaling of all the events, all the initiatives, doing more and more initiatives all during the years, opening the hub and doing all these things. Needs that we need more structure to do that, of course, and this affected of course the community because we structure so now we have the events, now we have also the part of the community that is only developers, so they try to build cool stuff on Web3. Yes, it evolved a lot, and also by my side I quitted my job last year to go full time to do the events and all the organization for Uber.it, but only the last one that did it. Many people inside the Urbe.it community quit their previous job to do this kind of things. So yeah, I think that we naturally scaled and we are more organized and everything is more settled inside the community. And so now it's more easy to evolve and to do more things.
Yeah, I think that something is worth saying here is that when we started organizing ETHWarsaw, we had a clear goal in mind that we wanted to show people in Poland, in Warsaw, how real Ethereum events are organized and that crypto events can be more than just shilling some projects that are basically worthless. I think we really achieved this goal, especially during our second edition, because people to the first edition, people came with no expectations. And then for the second edition, we really delivered the same or higher quality events. And so we showed that it wasn't just one-time thing. And now after our third edition and with the fourth one coming, people know that crypto events in Poland can be like really valuable for the attendees, that they can meet real builders, real projects, and that they can learn something at the event. I think we really changed how people perceive this kind of events in Poland, because before we had some meetups and they were fine, but every bigger event was like, very shady with some scammy projects on the stage. And they were mostly targeted at traders and speculators. ETHWarsaw was like the first real event for builders. And now we have actually more events organized by other teams that are also focused on builders. And I think that it's pretty amazing to see that we had this impact on like the whole world. So actually try to build something cool, not only to sell tokens to people.
I'm seeing as a change in our community or the way we, interact with the ecosystem around us, even outside of the Ethereum ecosystem immediately, like the Cluj technical ecosystem, right? So when we started this, it was really a little bit like we didn't set high ambitions. We decided we just want to put the content out there and see if we can find like-minded people who are, connected to what we're working with and to a certain way of thinking, certain way of living, if you will, right? These technical meetups that we were hosting, I'll be honest, they were a little bit shy on people. And yeah, it's still a struggle, I'll be honest. It's not like everything is pitch perfect, and I don't think it ever will be, because you always want to build more and do more, right? And what we are seeing actually is curiosity, which I think is a really cool thing, because education, in the end is meant to be, like the spark for everyone to come in and join the ecosystem or, start building cool stuff. And I think by the educational initiatives that we're developing, we managed to light that spark up, and we're starting to see, shyly the results. But let me just emphasize that anything, cool, worth building is built in time. If you will, like a lesson for me and for all of us in my team at this point is, try to have patience and keep on showing up constantly and be consistent, because in the end, cool things start to happen, right?
What trends do you see now in the Web3 space? What are people hoping to see and what's actually happening?
It's very, very, very difficult question, but I will try to make my best. If we have to see up the trends, there are always like content coins, meme coins, or whatever. But I think that this FUD and all the discussion about the Ethereum ecosystem that we are seeing these days, I'm pretty excited about actually the stablecoin and all the financial part of the Ethereum ecosystem. I think that stablecoin are really interesting, and also here the people in Urbe are really experimenting with mini apps, and so like in order to engage more people on social media and like to involve them in the ecosystem. I think that these are pretty interesting, and I think that we are going to see more and more consumer crypto and real use case apps that really try to get more users or whatever, or more interested users. Despite that, I think that the teams in the Ethereum ecosystem are always pretty interesting, like despite finance, but also privacy is very interesting. We we are always doing we always keep the track inside the ETHRome hackathon about privacy. And also I think that now we are seeing a collapse in the trend of AI, but in a good way, because in the last months we have seen like DeFi AI or all these kind of things that were not so meaningful, I think so. But now I think that we are really trying to see intersection between AI and Web3, and we are trying to see if it's possible, because nothing is always possible in these ecosystems.
Yeah, thank you. Monika, what do you
Yeah,
see?
so I don't know if it was what we wanted to see, but right now content coins are definitely like a hot topic. And by accident, I got really deep into Zora rabbit hole because I wanted to try it out as an artist, and it turns out I'm a meme coiner right now. So I got pretty involved, and I'm observing the market, what's happening, and I'm afraid that we will see more of this in coming months. Probably it's not a lasting trend, and it will be just seasonal hype. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed from an artist point of view, because we all hoped for something like for average users, for consumers, for mass adoption. But what we got was another speculative app. And it's a really weird feeling when you launch your art and then you're kind of forced to dump it on people, because this is how you make money on Zora. So it's really weird, and it's definitely not something I was expecting as an artist. But yeah, we are seeing a lot of this social experiments. As Marco mentioned, Farcaster, and I'm also like exploring this tool and following what Simona building. And it's also interesting that these mini apps are kind of similar to Facebook apps from early days. So this fun games built in a social app. So we'll probably see a bit more of it, but I also think people will get bored pretty soon.
Yeah, I agree with you. So what about you, Simona?
Yeah, it makes me smile. Actually, I've been following Monika's post a little bit. I love the art that you put out there. But I completely agree with you with your thoughts on how this trend will work. But hey, I mean, who are we to say where it's gonna go, right? It's just a feeling. And actually, it's something that I wanted to point out on. I think it's good to be, aware of trends and experiment with them at the same time, because obviously it's an important part of learning. But myself, I'm less focused on trends, because trends, the thing with them is that they always change. That's the constant. And I think it's important to observe, but at the same time, I think it's very important to understand what's the fundamental that we need to focus on. Something which is not per se a trend, but let's say something that is happening since the last few months that I've noticed as a general feeling, with market sentiment and whatnot, right? Is that people all around are really challenged by values behind why we're building what we're building. And obviously, given market sentiment, a lot of people being disappointed because of that, or because many other reasons. There will always be reasons to be disappointed, right?
Yeah,
But I think
sure.
this is the perfect time to challenge yourself and understand what's truly valuable and why you're doing this. Because we're not doing this because a certain person told us to, or because a certain group of people are, going into the trend of building something. We're doing this because of our own values, right? And I'm really grounded into that. And I do believe and see a lot of the people putting exactly this type of thoughts out there. Like either, on one hand, disappointment on some of the trends, right? Which is normal and it's fine. And it's very good to acknowledge. And also wanting to see more in the ecosystem. And I think this is a good challenge to take, and the perfect moment to, if you will, for lack of a better word, to capitalize on that. I think it's what people want to see, like real stuff happening, beyond trends and anything else. I think people are a little bit tired about trends at this point. It's very distracting sometimes, so.
Okay, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Let's talk about the tactics or maybe strategies that help you to attract participants and speakers to your events. What works and what doesn't work?
As I just mentioned before, we really believe at ETHCluj that shared knowledge and collective effort are the cornerstone of a thriving ecosystem, right? So that's first things first. I think like by learning together and building alongside diverse communities, as you guys probably know, we have several partnerships, including with ETHRome and ETHWarsaw. And this is something really important to us because, by the fact that ourselves we're trying to build alongside diverse communities, what we're aiming to do with this is to inspire every attendee, if we can, to see themselves not just as participants, but as co-creators of Ethereum future. I know it sounds big, but it's that, right? So what we are doing is building long-lasting relationships. So every collaboration that we established and that we worked for, and we always say this, it's not just for this conference, it's not just for this year, it's something that we want to build, it's something durable that we want to, in reality, help each other out, right? So by building these long-lasting relationships with others, we aim to inspire also participants to do the same in their personal and professional life as well. And, encourage them to, share knowledge and ideas, build a network around them, build a network of trust, more importantly, right? And based on that, just take it one step at a time from there, That's
Yeah, thank you, Marco. What about Urba and ETHRome?
Of course, prices. People, I'm joking. No, but actually, no. But bounty prices are interesting for builders, but they're not only the only thing that we do, of course. And I think that the community here is very important. Like trying to engage people and feel like them welcome inside the community. And also, I think that one thing that we are trying to do even more is like to onboard developers inside the Web3 space. We are doing that with Urbe Campus, that is our educational activity, and we try to target like coding school. We go there, we try to teach the students about Web3, and also we are going to tell that, know more about the Web3, then you can go to an hackathon and then you can maybe win money. But of course, it's not only like that. It's like try to engage them more and more and more, teach them all the basics about Web3 development.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to say that prices for the hackathon are not that important. Comparing our numbers of hackers and our bounties from our second and third editions, it's like we had much higher bounty pool during our third edition, and the number of hackers stayed like almost the same. So I don't think prices are that important for hackers. It's actually during Spring Hack, we had like very small bounties and people were super happy to participate in the hackathon and they had fun. And they were saying that it was a great intro to crypto, and they didn't care about prices at all. So that was a bit surprising to see, because everyone would say that prices attract hackers, but actually I think building atmosphere is much more important, and this is what I think is also attracting people to the conference itself. It's not only about what business can I make during the conference, right? But it's about just quality talks and quality sponsors, and delivering this consistent quality events brings people just without like special effort, because they all know what they can expect at Warsaw. And I hear a lot of people just talking, I need to visit Warsaw because I've heard so many great things about Warsaw, so it's next on my list. I think consistency is working. I'm like interested in seeing what's in the future, and if it's just just a theory or it really works.
Thank you all for your answers. So how to balance local talent with attracting international builders and speakers? So Monika just mentioned about people who want to come to Warsaw because of ETHWarsaw. So how many international attendees do you have, or speakers, and how do you attract them and balance this quantity and quality? So maybe Monika can continue.
Yes, so for ETHWarsaw is around 50-50. So we really try to attract quality speakers from abroad, so they can come to Poland and share their knowledge with our local community. but we also pay attention to highlighting our local builders. And when we see that people who build something really interesting applied to speak at ETHWarsaw, we make sure to put them on the stage and give them some space to showcase what are they building right now. And I think that's something that works for us because on one hand we have this something interesting for people from Poland to come and to see what's not available for them, for us all, for example, during our meetups, because meetups are more local, focused on local builders. This is the opportunity to exchange some knowledge with people who are not in our bubble. Maybe they are building something completely else on the other side of the world. But on the other hand, it's also maybe interesting for people coming from abroad to see our local ecosystem and what they can expect from Poland or Polish builders. So I think this mix is important, like to connect people from our community and from people visiting ETHWarsaw.
Yeah, thank you. So, Simona, what about your experience?
So, newbie here, right? In terms of conference experience, if I may say. So, what we're focusing on is actually we like to take a special attention and special care of the local ecosystem, first of all. For example, as we're trying to onboard, new contributors to Ethereum, we have initiatives like free tickets for every student that wants to apply and submit a motivation why they want to attend the conference. As we want to make sure that there are people, the reason we're not just giving away free tickets, right? It's that we want to make sure that every person that wants to attend is interested of being there and wants to be there, right? That's something very important. We, of course, try to support the local communities, with discounts if we can, and make sure we reach out to them. We do like small presentations to get them a little bit familiar with what we do. And afterwards, offer obviously discounts for the conference because it's less about, like making this huge event internationally. And it's more about trying to onboard the local technical people as well, right? And in terms of bringing speakers and attendees from international community, I think we're pretty much good at, just honestly saying what we do and doing what we say, So as long as we're consistent, I think people tend to notice. We don't, like promise big stuff and, disappoint. We'd rather just, stay in our lane, do our work, right? And trying to, get attendees, speakers, and so forth by actual value that we build. And what I've noticed, surprisingly, and actually everyone in my team was amazingly impressed by this, because when we started and we announced just before DevCon the conference dates, and after DevCon we started, also to reach out to people in terms of speakers, not only receiving applications. And we were quite surprised because I would say above 80% of the people that we contacted was really positive, excited about ETHCluj. Not all of them, obviously, were able to attend, but just the sentiment and the fact that people were so, like holding us, if I may humbly say that, in high regards. This was a major plus for us and a major, like confirmation that we're doing it the right way, right? So we're expecting probably 50-50 in terms of international and local attendees. Don't quote me on that quite yet, because I'll be honest, it's a little bit of a struggle this year, and this is what I'm hearing from other conferences as well. Myself, it's the first time I'm doing it, so, need to rely on others' advice, right? But I see that it's a little bit of a struggle worldwide in terms of attendees, sponsors, and so forth. But that's all right. We're going to do it what we have. And we're not aiming necessarily big. If it happens, it's cool. We're ready for it. But we're aiming quality. And we want to make sure that we have speakers for every level of Ethereum, newbie or expert, or trying to put a bit of content out there for everyone to relate to. And another thing that we're trying to do is really trying to offer as much benefits as possible even outside of the conference, because I think it's very important for people to actually experience, local culture, and hopefully we'll manage. I think it's nice even for locals, to to get a little bit into this vibe. And you're gonna see June in Cluj is really like a month of, it's full of events and every interesting thing that you could possibly do. And I think the vibe around the city will really make a difference for both local as well as international attendees.
Marco, what
Yeah.
about you?
So for us, it's actually pretty easy to involve international people to our events.
So from
Not because of, yeah, I mean, maybe for that. Yeah, because of Rome, but for the food, of course. But also because there are no companies here, Web3 companies. All the communities here are like the older communities, down the new communities like Napoli, and also all the communities from the southern part of Italy are really in the Ethereum ecosystem, but previously the community were only on about speculating or whatever. So and also the developers community here is not so big. Well, actually, for the first event, we had the opposite problems. We had too many international attendees, and we had I think that the numbers for hackers were like 55 hackers from outside Italy and 45% from Italy. But if you count also the sponsors and the mentors and the judges, like 70% of all the attendees of the hackathon were outside Italy. So we are trying to manage it now that also we have a permanent space in Rome, in Italy, and we are trying to manage it. And last year it went better. 55% of the attendees were Italians and 45% were international, and this year we want to do more. In fact, we are trying to engage more with institutions like universities or whatever, but also we are trying to build 2 weeks of pop-up city, pop-up village before ETHRome hackathon, not only for international people that want to visit and enjoy Rome, but mostly for Italian participants that want to deep dive more in the Web3 stuff. We are going to do maybe a campus that will last longer than our normal campus. So we can interact more with builders and also doing like some fun and activities, but that the mission is like trying to engage more and more the local ecosystem. And now that we have this permanent space, I think that I hope that it will be easier, because I think that is the most difficult for us. It's very difficult for us because in terms of international partners, we don't have problems, but with national, yes, a little bit.
Thanks for sharing. And this pop-up city sounds really cool, and I'm sure you'll have many attendees, not only from abroad but Italians. Do you have any collaborations with local or global institutions, universities, or any public initiatives?
For us, it's also this part for like international institutions. Like we have a strong collaboration with the 42 schools that are a coding school, a network of coding school all around the world. We have a strong collaboration with them because it's also very easy to collaborate with them, and so we are able to organize the campuses here in Rome, in Florence, but also we have collaborated with them in Warsaw and in Bangkok, and we are going to do more in Prague for the ETHPAC campus. And so with this institution, it's very easy. But for local institutions, it's more complex. We have like a partnership with Sapienza University of Rome, but it's not like a partnership. We know a teacher, we know a professor, and so we collaborate with him, not with the university, but with him. So we host some lessons during his course. But instead, with institutions, it's difficult because I think that we have two different approach. We are very fast, very compulsive, like we do things very fast. We don't want to do more things and always more and more without thinking too much, maybe. Instead, they are more slow. They need more time to understand things. But I completely understand that. Also, now that we have this physical space, and also now that we want to host this 2 weeks pop-up city, we want to involve more of them. Also, we are trying to understand what are like the students associations, chain associations at the school, and also we are trying. hopefully to involve the local institutions like the city of Rome and also the region of Lazio, where we are here, inside our events. It's difficult, maybe a little bit impossible, but we are trying to do that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. That sounds really great. Monika, what about Warsaw?
So we had a few collaboration with institutions, with universities, but I don't think they're that cool, and I don't think they brought anything special to ETHWarsaw so far. And actually, I'm so much more excited about our collaboration with Urbe, because last year they delivered super cool workshops during our conference. They had their own room where they held their workshops for 2 days, and it was like the whole boot camp where you could learn something step by step. And I hope they will come to Warsaw this year too. So I'm really looking forward for this, because I think such a cooperation with builders is really valuable, because they're bringing their own knowledge, their experience. They're bringing also a lot of cool hackers. I think I will have an opportunity to talk about it later too. So this is something that's really, really results in something real, because institutions usually give you their logo and that's all. Like, we didn't have any other benefits from them. That's just some kind of recognition. I think they didn't bring anything special. They didn't bring a lot of knowledge or something. So I think real builders are much more important.
Yeah, thank you. So, Simona, what about what?
For ETHCluj, actually, we do have local partnerships with both of the main universities in here, which are among the best in the country and definitely the best in the region. The Technical University of Cluj, who is actually hosting us as well. So the building, the venue that we have for our conference is actually belonging to them. And this building has been let's say repurposed or acquired by the university and repurposed a few years back to be like a main technological and research hub. So that's really important, let's say, to ground ourselves in this specific spot as well, and to tie relationships with universities. I'll be honest, it's not easy, and it goes alongside of what you were saying, Monika. Basically, I mean, we have with the technical university, a liaison, a person who's a teacher in the university and who's advocating for us and the work we do. So yeah, we have that. And also this goes like way beyond just the conference this year, because with the technical university, we're actually a lot of the times hosted in their workshop rooms in this specific building in order to develop all sorts of initiatives. Like, we have the Ethereum think tank series, which is real life sessions with community feedback for people who want to come up and present their ideas or their project. So we've been enjoying a lot of support from them, not just, acknowledgement that we exist. But of course, more can be done. I'm not gonna lie. This is far from what we fully envisioned, but we're there, we're working for it. And for example, with Babes Bolyai University, we have established contact with the prorector over there, Prodin, sorry, that's the name in English. And actually, he's been showing us a lot of support. He wants to, start to host workshops in collaboration with us, like dedicated workshops, because we've already done workshops with a certain professor in their university as well. But we want to take it a bit like one step further. And eventually, after the conference and based on the workshop materials that we're going to present at the conference, one of our volunteers actually is going to be teaching in masters at this university. And we want to build like a full course, training course for students in this university. And hopefully, as I said, one step at a time, building acknowledgement, saying that, we're not, interested in, doing anything, shady or whatever. People will start to, loosen up and see that, hey, we're here to help actually, right? But also keeping in mind that, as you well pointed out, Monika, these are institutions. So people there, it's a different mentality and it's a different way of moving things in an institution with a lot of approvals and so forth, a lot of bureaucracy as well. So yeah, we know that it takes time to build like fully, but I think we're quite well established with both of the universities. And actually this year, considering that we're doing the conference, we've reached out also to the mayory of Cluj-Napoca, who are very much, supporters of innovation, technological innovation specifically, since we're a main tech city of the country.
Have you seen any real startups or careers launched thanks to the hackathon? It's probably a question to Monika and Marco.
I think our best project that was created during ETHWarsaw hackathon was Cherry, so a project from Rome, from Urba guys. So it was born during our third edition, and it's still in development. So it's really cool to see that people are still working on something that started during ETHWarsaw, and it's a tool for hackers to find a team for a hackathon. It's something that is also useful for us, and we actually tested it during Spring Hack. We didn't have that many participants, and it wasn't that useful. But I think for the main event, it will be much more important, and it's really amazing to see that. During our hackathon, there was a tool that we can use later on for our own purposes. And it's something that I personally really love, because I love see people building stuff, and I feel that we are a part of it, because we made it possible for it to happen. So I always want to see hackathon projects, or we also have ETHWarsaw VC, a program for founders that matches founders with VCs. So hopefully one day we'll also have a success here too. So yeah, that's something that's what we're doing.
Yeah, also for us, I think that's the most interesting project is Fluky. Fluky board in 2023 from our first hackathon actually was the winner of the privacy track of ETHRome 23, and now it's an actual startup with 2 years of history, and it's a privacy-oriented app that you can use for send, transfer, manage your crypto in a completely private way. So and we are always very proud of them, because we always bring them inside our events. Also because a part of the team is Italian, so yeah, that is the most interesting actually, but I don't remember the name. This is so shameful for me, but the judges said to me that the last year a privacy winner for ETHRome was the best project that they ever see in an hackathon.
Thank you very much. So this is the question to all of you. How do you see Ethereum and the Web3 in broader sense evolving in your region next, let's say 1 year maybe? Because we can't predict 2, 3, 5 years, but maybe next year.
I'm hoping that by next year, we're going to see way more interesting, ideas and project that spans from our general activity, not only the conference. I'm hoping to see that we can actually this I think we will probably see. That's definitely a certainty. Mapping out the full ecosystem here, because what happens in Cluj and Romania, generally I feel, a lot of the people work remotely for projects, I don't know, either Romanian or international. And it feels like people are quite isolated one from another, since working remotely can do this to people, right? So I'm hoping to see more collaboration driven by the fact that we actually want to bring people together. And that's our main role here. So by next year, I'll probably see more enthusiasm and the general ecosystem in Cluj booming. There's going to be more interest around the blockchain generally, Ethereum, hopefully. This is a very important moment and quite of a good moment for people in Web2 to pivot or to Web3 blockchain technology, and I see a lot of interest in Cluj as well. It's a bit shy, but we're hoping to bridge that gap by having the conference hosted and then following up with several other events and making sure we retain people that have the curiosity to participate.
I don't know, because it's difficult to predict what is going on in 1 year, both in the Ethereum ecosystem, both in Urbe.it. But our vision, our goal is to settle down all the things that we have done so far. So all our events format, everything that we have done. Yeah. like try to grow the community and try to be more inclusive and try to bring more people inside the community and in the ecosystem. This is our goal, and we realized that after many years, I think that we were also talking about this with Monika, that it's like it's impossible, or maybe it's not good to maybe settle that you are going to have huge events next year. So maybe we had 200 attendees this year. Oh, next year we are going to have 500. It's not like that, and actually is better that it's not like that, because we have to settle everything, and also we have to try to keep the good people inside. And I think that it's difficult to scale up in a short term, and I think that's the thing that we have to do is like to settle it and try to engage more people and try to realize the best things for the best builders experience. And with these things we hopefully try to engage more people. And for the Ethereum ecosystem in general, I don't know what is going to happen in 1 year. I don't think that everyone knows also what is going to happen tomorrow. So
I also don't want to like make predictions, but I like to focus on what we can actually do. And as ETHWarsaw, we are planning to bring much more collaboration among the builders this year. We also don't want to really grow, and in terms of conference at least, because I think we found our sweet spot, and I don't think it's necessary to make it bigger. But I think we have a lot of potential that it's not fully utilized, because people are not working together, not talking to each other that much. Right now, it's once a year during our conference. Even though we are organizing meetups, they are not that effective in bringing this atmosphere of building together. And so we have a couple of ideas. I hope we will announce them soon to foster this collaboration between teams, between builders that already work in Warsaw in Web3. And I hope that this will spark something more, and in a year we will have maybe some projects that during our events or something.
Why should our viewers and listeners come to your event this year? Like, what's waiting for them in Warsaw, Cluj-Napoca, and Rome?
first of all, it's always a good time to come to Rome, because now we have this Urbe Hub, and so there will be always co-working spots for all the builders coming to Rome during this year. So whenever anyone wants to come here is always welcome. And speaking about ETHRome and the Urbe Village, this year it will be more funny, I think, and also more long. It will be 2 weeks long event. So the Urbe Village will be like a pop-up city focused on builders, with Urbe Campus, with workshops, and also some maybe guided tour inside Rome, or so food tour. So also interesting and funny stuff. And we would like to, why we are doing this, why we are doing Urbe Village, because we found that one of the most important problem for hackathon organizers is builder retention. So it's difficult to bring the builders inside the ecosystem and bring the builders to collaborate with partners and sponsors. We extending the length of the events. We want to try to engage more with builders, also to engage more with sponsors, and we want builders to engage more with sponsors. So it's possible to build like longer lasting relationships, and to try to build something more meaningful that is not maybe only a 2 days project, but it's at least 2 weeks project. Maybe it will continue in the future. So this is our goal. So what they will find, incredible community, I hope so, and very good food, and very good technical stuff, I think so.
I think by now I kind of summed up why we're doing this and why we're waiting for attendees and speakers and why we're excited to have them here. Come to ETHCluj, meet the people, see get the feel, get the vibe, right? I think people are going to enjoy, and I'm hoping maybe they will take the chance to either revisit and take the chance to visit Transylvania, which, spoiler alert, is awesome and very much culturally rich. We're just hoping to connect with people, have real conversations, and offer a very nice experience for everybody to enjoy. So yeah, we're welcoming everyone for June, hoping to see you here.
As I said, we found our sweet spots in terms of numbers of participants or what we want to show to people. So we are planning very similar events as last year. So we have the same venue at Browary Warszawskie. However, we are renting a few more rooms, even though we are not planning going much bigger, because this year is not about going bigger. It's about quality and improving stuff that we feel we can still improve. If you're coming to Warsaw, you can expect a lot of side events, at least one rave for sure. And as last year, we also plan on doing ETHLegal, ETHWarsaw VC. I think there's a lot of value in this, and our event will be hopefully even better than last year, but maybe not that much bigger.
Thank you all for sharing about your local communities. It was great to gather all of you in one episode. Guys, thanks for listening it, for watching it. I'll leave all the links to the events in the description. You can go check, and also I will leave the links to Simona, to Monika, to Marco, so you can follow them and see what's happening in their local communities and of course attend their events. So thank you very much and see you in the next episodes.